in our series of lessons on the previous year questions, tricks and techniques, and this is the first session of that, third session of that today that I'm taking with you. Welcome to the class, everybody, and we're just starting off. We continue from where we left off yesterday. So we had done. One sec. This is not the file for me. Yeah. So you're in this set of questions. We have done a few of these already, and this one we had done yesterday in yesterday's class. So I'll pick up questions from here actually. And before I start off, this is the first question for today that we'll pick up. And this question is talking about a teacher teaching students of third standard gave a multiplication exercise to the kids, but one kid reversed the digits of both numbers and carried out the multiplication, found the product was exactly the same as the one expected by the teacher. Only one of the following pairs of numbers will fit in the description of the exercise. Which one is that? So if you look at this question, what this question is saying is that if the teacher has a number AB and is multiplying it with another two-digit number CD, where A, B, C, D are digits, then what he has done, the student has done BA into DC instead of AB into CD. And doing BA into DC, what that does is essentially giving you the same value in terms of the product. And since this is an option-based question, the best thing to do here is simply pick up the options. If you look at the first option and you look at 14 into 22, you'll immediately realize that if you replace this by reversing the digits, this will end up becoming 41 into 22. And it's very clear that something like 14 into 22 can never be equal to 41 into 22, because if 22 is a multiplier, the value of 41 and the value of 14 will be different, will obviously give you different products. The product 1 and the product 2 can never be equal in this scenario. So this is not going to work here. Hence, this option is gone. So we look, and on the same logic, the third option is also removed because it has the same structure. The third option is telling you that 19 into 33 will be the same as 91 into 33, and that can't happen. Something like this can only happen if both these numbers are equal. So 22 into 33 reversed will give you a 22 into 33. You reverse these digits, it will become 22. You reverse these digits, it will become 33. But not if one of those two digits is reversed only. And hence, this third option A and C, both are gone in this question. And you're left with B and D. Now, of course, through trial and error, you can see for B, you can see for yourself in option B, 13 into 62. If you reverse it as 31 into 26, 13 into 60, 13 into 6 is 778, so 13 into 60 is 780, and 13 into 2 is 26. So this is 806. And 31 into 20, or 20 into 31 is 620. Or you can perhaps do 26 into 30, which is 780. plus 26 into 1, which is 26, and that's also 806. So both the numbers are coming out same. 806 is equal to 806, and hence the correct answer becomes option B. But you could have done this question without actually checking for the calculations, because option D also gets rejected, and it gets rejected on two different logics, which will allow you to do this question in less than 20 seconds without having to without actually doing the calculations. And how that is, let me tell you. When you're doing something like 42 into 28, this calculation has a lower limit of 40 into 20, and it has an upper limit of 50 into 30. That means this value of this cannot cross 1500, and it will have to be minimum 800. It will have to be above 1500, but it cannot cross. It will have to be minimum 800, but it cannot cross 1500. It will have to be in the range of 800 to 1500, this value. And on top of that, if you reverse these digits, I'm trying to tell you why 42 into 28 will never be the answer to this question, and hence you can eliminate that directly while solving this. That's what I'm trying to show you why. So if you go with the reversal of these digits, what you'll get is 24 reversed is 42. 42 reversed is 24, and 28 reversed is 82. Now, if you look at the range of 24 into 82, the lower limit of 24 into 82, the lower limit of 24 into 82 is going to be 20 into 80, which is 1600. So at any cost, this number is not going to go below 1600. So the moment you realize that the upper limit of 15 to 30, 1500 is the upper limit of this calculation, and 1600 is the lower limit of this calculation, you cannot have an equality between two calculations in which one is not crossing 1500, the other is not coming below 1600. So there can never be an equality between the two, and hence 42 into 28 gets rejected, and you can actually avoid the calculation of 13 into 62 and 31 into 26, because those calculations are a little bit time taking here, and that can be avoided in this question completely. But there's another way to think about this, and that way to think about this is another way to actually another logical way in which 42 the solution screen is behind my face. Sorry for that. SJ, is it better now? Let me just check. Or let me do one thing. Let me just place these opposite to each other and do it on this side. Yeah, so this should be okay now. So in the next question, the other way to eliminate 42. So I'll just repeat that. 42 into 28 has an upper limit of 1500 because it will not cross 15 to 30, and 24 into 82 has a lower limit of 1600 because it cannot be below 20 into 80, and hence whatever you do with 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 with, with this, the equality can never happen. So there's another logic on which the equality will get removed or erased here. The equality won't happen. And that is again based on a logic which will allow you to bypass the calculation of 31 into 26 and 30 into 62 and 31 into 26. To do a positive check with 1362, you'll have to of course multiply 13 into 26, 62 and 31 into 26 and see the equality. But there's another way in which you can remove this option, and that is the unit digit logic. Unit digit logic tells you that if you're multiplying 42 into 28, the unit digit of this will be 6, 2 into 8. So this number is going to end with 6. And if you multiply 24 into 82, reverse 42, reverse 28, the unit digit of this is going to be 8. And a number ending in 6 can never be equal to a number ending in 8. Right? So this is another logic on which you can remove this. And hence this question is basically a 30-second question when you look at this. And these are all previous year questions, as I said. These are all previous year questions. And pretty elementary the way you solve this, one. Now this is the next one for you for today. Think about this. If you can give me an answer, try to do that. Find the minimum integral value of n such that the division 55n divided by 124 leaves no remainder. Think about this question. Let me just get the promo code aspect into the picture. So I will definitely talk about Unacademy Plus also towards the end of the class. But first, let's focus on the questions. So the question is talking about find the minimum integral value of n such that the division 55n divided by 124 leaves no remainder. So in this question, 55n, say what we mean is essentially 55 into n. And you're dividing it by 124. And 55 into n divided by 124 has to leave no remainder. Has to leave no remainder. Yes. Minimum value is 124. So what is the logic behind this? The logic behind this is divisibility. No remainder means divisible. So this has to be divisible by 124. Now for this to be divisible by 124, for divisible to happen, when do you say that that x is divisible by y? X is divisible by y. When do you say that? When you say x is divisible by y, when x divided by y leaves no remainder. You say x is divisible by y when x is a multiple of y. And you say x is divisible by y when y is the factor of x. It happens in 3 dimensions. But there's a fourth reason when you talk about divisibility. There's a fourth reason why you can say x is divisible by y, and that is that if you write the prime factors of x and write the prime factors of y, the prime factors of x should completely be able to cancel out the prime factors of y. To give you an illustration, 192 is divisible by 24. And y is divisible by 124. By 24 is 192. I meant that 192 is divisible by 24. And y is divisible by 24 is because 192 is 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. And 24 is 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. So when you divide these two, the 2 gets cancelled with the 2 here. This 2 gets cancelled with the 2 here. This 2 gets cancelled with the 2 here. And this 3 gets cancelled with this 3 here. Right? So effectively what has happened is divisibility happens when the complete denominator can be cancelled out with components of the numerator. And when you cannot cancel out the denominator with components of the numerator, in such cases, divisibility will not happen. So in this case, if you look at a different aspect of this, why is 60 not divisible by 24? The reason is 60 is 2 into 2 into 3 into 5, and 24 is 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. So 3 gets cancelled, 2 gets cancelled, and you can see that this 2 is not getting cancelled, and hence divisibility is not happening. So that is the logic that you have to apply here in this question. When you apply that logic, you see that if you're talking about a number like 55 into n, and you want to be divisible by 124, 55 is 11 into 5, and n is whatever it will be. You'll have to write the prime factors of n here. And when you divide this by 124, 124 is 31 into 2 into 2 in its prime factors. So for divisibility to happen, then these numbers have to be cancelled out with the numbers here. And hence you will need a 31 into 2 into 2 here, which is the minimum value required in this question. Right, so let's look at the next question now in this set. And this is an interesting question because it's asking us this. And this is the question for you. And I want you to try this first. A man sells chocolates that come in boxes. Either full boxes or half a box of chocolates can be brought from him. A customer comes and buys half the number of boxes the seller has plus half a box. So two things you know here. First thing you know here is that from whatever boxes he has, the seller has, he sells only whole or half boxes. He sells only whole or half boxes. Right? So the first customer comes and he buys half the boxes the seller has plus half a box. And with what is left with the seller, a second customer does the same thing. Half the boxes he has plus half a box. And at the end of that, 0 boxes are left. So how many chocolate boxes did the seller have before the first customer came? That's the question. How many chocolate boxes did the first customer have before did the seller have before the first customer came? Now this is a very simple question in this context because in this case you can simply do a small trial and error. So if you try with 2 boxes, for example, the first customer will buy half of what he has plus half a box. Half of what the seller has is 2, half 1, and plus half a box is 0.5. So the seller buys 1.5 boxes, sells 1.5 boxes to the first customer. So the seller is left with zero point 0.5 boxes for the second customer. And these 0.5 boxes, if you do the half plus half logic again, this half is 0.25, half of what the seller has. And this is not possible because half plus half here. This is not possible according to the question, because whenever you are giving a box to someone, you will be giving only half boxes or full boxes. So you can't give 0.75 boxes to someone and the customer will buy 1.5 plus zero point 0.5, which is 2, and you're left with one box after that. And the second customer will buy 0.5 plus zero point 0.5, which is 1, and after that zero customers are left, zero boxes are left. So this is an interesting question, not because of this question, but suppose I made a question which said that that the customer that the seller has a certain number of boxes, and the first customer came and he bought half the boxes plus half a box. Then the second customer came, did the same thing. A third customer came, did the same thing. And a fourth customer came and did the same thing. And after that, the number of boxes with the seller is 0. And now if I ask you to trace what is the value of n, and I give this to you as a theta question, so you need to do a little bit of thinking before you can get to the answer to this. And I want you to do that thinking first before I tell you the solution to this. So you can pause the video. I don't need to give you time here. A lot of you will be watching this video in replay form. So you can pause the video. Try to do this. Think about this. Maybe I'll give you a hint that first try to do this with 3. Remove the fourth customer and try to do this with 3 customers. What should be n if there are 3 customers? So that at the end of 3 half plus half iterations, you end up with 0 boxes left. 3 half plus half iterations, you end up with 0 boxes left. Let's just see this. So obviously 3 से तो ज़्यादा ही होगा. 3 customers. First customer, second customer, third customer. So people joining fresh, welcome to the session. We are trying to see this question which is on your screen on the right side. This question is what we have already done. The answer to that was 3. So we're trying to look at this new question here, where we are saying that what if 3 customers came? I asked you this question with 4 customers, but I'm first asking you to think through 3 customers. What's happened? What's going to happen? So obviously the number of boxes the seller will have will be greater than 3, because with 3 boxes only 2 customers will finish the boxes. So the seller will start with more than 3 boxes. So how many boxes should the seller start with? So if you try to do a trial and error, let's say you start with 4. The first half plus half iteration, half the boxes the seller has plus half a box, will take away 2.5, and you're left with 1.5. And the second half plus half iteration will bring it down to 0.75 plus 0.5. And according to the question, as you can see here, you can't pick up 0.75 boxes. You can only pick up half a box or full boxes. So 0.75 plus zero point 0.5 does not work here, and hence 4 will not be the right answer. You can't really do that. What if you thought with 5 boxes? What if you try to do the same thought with 5 boxes? With 5 boxes, using the half plus half logic, the first customer will pick up 2.5 plus zero point 0.5. So the first customer is picking up 3. The seller is going to be left with 2 boxes. So when the second customer comes and does half plus half logic, he'll pick up 1 plus zero point 0.5, which means he's going to pick up 1.5. So the seller is left with 0.5 boxes. These are the boxes left with the seller to start with, or this is after 1 iteration, this is after 2 iterations. So now you again need a half plus half iteration on this. And it's very clear you can't do a half plus half because half of this is 0.25. You can't do a 0.25. Anyway, you don't have more than 0.5 available. So if you pick up half a box again here, you're not going to be able to take anything here. So this is clearly too small. So 4 is not working, 5 is not working. What about 6? First customer, if the seller has 6 boxes to start with, the first customer, when he does half plus half, he'll take 3 plus 0.5. So he's going to take out 3.5 boxes, left with 2.5 boxes. Left with 2.5 boxes. The second customer comes, and now the seller has 2.5 boxes. And when the second customer does half plus half the boxes that the seller has will be 1.25. And that's again not possible because the question clearly says that. So those of you coming new, we are talking about 3 customers. What will happen if 3 customers are there? And we are ultimately trying to build a question for 4 customers in a theta format. In the options format, this was a very simple question, but in theta format, this is a question which requires some solving. So 1.25 is not possible. So we abandon 6 right at this point. We don't need to go through with the calculations with 6. And that brings us to 7. So the seller starts with 7 boxes. The first customer, half plus half, will be 3.5 plus zero point 0.5. He's going to buy 4 from him, and he's left with 3 boxes with the seller. The second customer, and you know this is the right answer here, because with 3 boxes and 2 customers doing half plus half, you know that you reach 0. So you don't need to do the remaining part of the calculation there. And you can work out that even if you want to do the calculation, it will be 1.5 plus zero point 0.5. So one box left for the seller, and 0.5, half the boxes plus half a box, does make it 0 indeed. And hence this is the correct answer here. 7. So now if you want to now look for a pattern inside this, you could see that with two customers, the seller should start with 3 boxes so that half and half twice becomes 0. And with 3 customers, the seller should start with S equals 7. The seller should start with 7 boxes so that with 3 customers doing half plus half, you come down to 0. Right? And obviously you can also see this, that if there's only one customer, then if the seller starts with 1 box, the first customer buys half a box plus half a box, half a box plus half a box, so you'll be left with 0 boxes. So can you see a pattern here is the issue, because if you can see a pattern, then this question is resolved forever in your life. And what you can see is that this is 1 less than 4, this is 1 less than 8, and this is 1 less than 2. So the first answer is 2 raised to 1 minus 1. The second answer is 2 raised to 2 minus 1. The third answer is 2 raised to 3 minus 1. So in a question like this, the seller should start with 2 raised to n minus 1, where n is the number of customers or number of iterations you want to do. This is the starting point, so that in n iterations it comes down to 0 uh, boxes. So to give you an example of this, you will see this. If you go with four iterations, that means 4 customers. The first customer, the second customer, the third customer, and the fourth customer. Four customers are coming in and doing half plus half. The correct answer for the starting number should be 15. In this case, what happens? The first customer, if you're starting with 15, the first customer will buy 7.5 plus 0.5. He buys 8. You're left with 7 with the seller. The second customer buys 3.5 plus 0.5. He buys 4. You're left with 3. The third customer buys 1.5 plus 0.5. It's going to be, you're taking off 2 and you're going to be left with 1. And the fourth customer buys 0.5 plus 0.5, and that takes you to 0. So this is the algorithm for this question. Every time you face this question, you will do 2 raised to n minus 1. And this question can come in 3 stories. This was the chocolate box story. The other is the thief story. A thief steals diamonds from or gold coins or chocolates from a house, and while escaping, or from a palace, and while escaping he meets 4 guards, and the first guard lets him go after he offers him half the merchandise plus the half, right? So half the or half the, let's say he steals oranges or apples, and the first guard takes up half the apples plus half an apple. The second guard does this, the third guard does this, and the fourth guard also does this, and the fifth guard also does this, and after that he's left with 0 apples. So how many apples did the thief steal initially? So this question will be answered by 2 raised to 5 minus 1 here, because you are doing 5 iterations here, right? And this is a very common question in all aptitude exams. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and we are enjoying bringing this to you on Unacademy. And to just remind you, Unacademy Plus is a platform on which some of you can say some of India's best teachers are available on every subscription structure of Unacademy Plus. If you do decide to join Unacademy Plus, do check out the subscriptions. You have 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 month subscriptions available. And you can use my promo code Arun Sharma to join Unacademy Plus for any program, not just the CAT program. Of course, if you are preparing for CAT, you'll join for the CAT program. But you can also join for other programs like UPSC, and the code will work everywhere. You have a friend who's want to join that. The code will work everywhere. So you can use this promo code to get a 10% discount on the existing fees. And the best part of Unacademy Plus is that it completely gives you the remote control in your hand. You do what you want. Which teacher, which course, how you want to augment yourself, it's completely up to you. So do use this promo code if you decide to take up Unacademy Plus. Do check it out, and I'll see you soon in the next session. For the time being, I take your leave. Thank you so much. Bye for now.